So Little Barrier is really a unique location. It's a site that has been kept intact basically since humans have arrived in New Zealand, and it has an almost intact collection of New Zealand native plants and animals. So it's really a magical place. You've got lots of kiwi walking around the place, lots of native birds, and of course you have good populations of the short-tailed bat. So Little Barrier Island was basically a snapshot of what New Zealand could have looked like in the past before we lost so many species on the North Island. In comparison, my other North Island sites were missing most of the native birds and the native bat that would have been important as pollinators. So tui still occurred in the forest that I was studying, but they never turned up on my cameras. So what we had instead was we have the forests that are full of introduced species, such as the shiprat and the silver eye. So in the first year of my study, I was finding that I was out there all night long and I just wasn't getting enough samples of animals visiting flowers. So I had to come up with a system of cameras that would record video footage continuously 24 hours a day. So what we have here is we have just a basic security camera system that's connected to a digital recorder inside a weatherproof box. And I had 5 of these cameras and I could put them all out in the field and they would record at the same time, and I'd have them out for 10 days at a time, recording, just looking at flowers and waiting to see what visited them. So for each of the species we would focus on a certain number of trees and we would follow a flower through from the flower opening through to when it produced seed. And so for each flower we could measure the number of seed or the number of fruit that it produced, and then we'd look at the percentage of flowers on a tree that produce fertile seed or produce fruit. So that's a measure of the degree of pollination that had occurred for it. And then by experimentally excluding different groups of pollinators, we could look at how that affected the amount of fruit that was set per flower. So if you think of a flower on a branch we don't do anything to, all sorts of animals can visit those flowers. What we also did is we put cages on, these wire mesh cages that we put over the branches that stopped birds and any other large animals from visiting the flowers. And so then we could look at the amount of seed that those flowers inside the cage produced compared to flowers that were on open branches.